Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
dedication. Thanks for being here.
Thanks
No
for coming
problem.
back in
So
time.
much. Oh, wow. And then, of course, my wonderful best friend and co-host, Courtney. Courtney, thank you so much for joining us from your car.
Sorry for the craziness today, but I'm here. I'm
No,
excited.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
welcome
That's
to
dedication. Thanks for
It's-
being here.
That's what I'm saying.
Thanks
No
for coming
problem.
back in
So
time.
much. Oh, dedication.
Wow.
Oh, wow. And then, of course, my wonderful best friend. Wait, there we go. So I had to pause. I had to get the pause the YouTube so it doesn't, come back with me talking in it. So sorry about that for a second. All right. So this is our Memorial Day special, everyone. And I would like to start off with a prayer, which I do think is only fitting for a Memorial Day special. So, as we gather here on this Memorial Day, we pause to honor and remember the brave men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our country. We are grateful for their courage, their dedication, and their unwavering commitment to protecting our freedoms. We ask for comfort and peace for the families and loved ones that they have left behind. May they find solace in the knowledge that their sacrifice was not in vain, and that their memory lives on in the hearts of a grateful nation. As we begin our episode tonight, we hold these heroes in our hearts and minds. Let their bravery inspire us to live with purpose, to cherish our freedoms, and to strive for a world where peace prevails. Amen. Thank you all for giving me just that little bit to do that. So let's kick this shit off. So I have a little poll for you all. So let me get in here and we'll get it pulled up.
I am horrible. I am so bad. I cannot be on anything with Kevin.
Oh my God. Is she still flustering
Put
it?
Kevin on it. Put Kevin on it.
Okay. So does everybody see your poll?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I want you to go down. I'll read each one just so everybody knows, that's watching the live what it says. But these are just a kind of like ice breaks, and some of us don't know each other yet. So I'm going to have them answer some questions just to see what kind of people they are, as far as just, in the intimate way, in a just regular personal way. So number one is, what's your preferred date night activity? So we have... Here's the choices: dinner and a movie, dancing at a club, Netflix and chill, or a quiet night in. So everybody go ahead and put your poll in.
Are you allowed to select more than one on some of these questions?
I think you are.
It says
No-
multiple choice.
Okay, I think you are, because just bear with me. This is like my first time using Zoom for like a huge live event.
Okay.
So go ahead and put that in, and then just go ahead and give a thumbs up when you're done with number one.
Sorry, my kid's signaling me. I don't
Okay.
know what he's trying to
You
fucking
got the
say.
first one done yet?
Everybody good?
Oh, hold on a second.
Yep. Just tell me who else needs time. Everybody good now?
I'm locked in. It's only one question.
Okay. All right. So let's go to number two. What's the craziest place that you've hooked up? On a beach, in a car, at work, or in an elevator?
What happens if they're all of these answers, but none of these answers are the craziest one?
What if the craziest one isn't on the list?
Yeah, I was going to say
So many
mine's not
other crazy
there.
ones that aren't
You
there.
have to tell us now.
Of course, you know that I could have put tons on there,
Yeah.
but I had to kind of keep it a little limited.
I'm gonna finish this, but I'm gonna walk away for like 2 seconds. Apparently, somebody keeps calling my son's phone on no caller ID and just left a threatening voicemail.
Oh, good.
My
Boy.
goodness.
I will be right back.
Wow. Okay. I hope everything's okay. Woo. That's
Yeah,
a great picture. I like that.
Hey, so the quiz went away for me.
What?
Get it back.
Uh-oh.
Courtney, you broke it?
I don't understand. I'm on my phone and I was trying to
Oh,
unmute
no.
my mic and then it just disappeared.
Let me see if I can redo it. No, it just says launch, and then I have to hit end when all of it's done.
That's so sad.
Darn it, Courtney.
I won't
Is it on a different
participate.
screen?
On your own show and all.
This is what I
I
mean.
know,
Courtney
I
and
fucked it
I
up on our own
have
show.
like issues anytime that we do a podcast together. There's either like crazy spirits like haunting us and messing up our tech shit, or something's going wrong, right?
Dumb. I'm sorry.
You are not, it's not your fault. If you did you hit end poll? Like, did you go through all of them already?
I was just trying to get my mic to come back up because I was on mute, and then it just pulled up the quiz, and I wanted to be able to talk with you guys. So I was like messing around with it, and then it just kind of disappeared. So
I'm sorry. Well, you can at
That's
least just,
me.
how about this? When I read them off, you can at least tell me what yours answer is then, Courtney. Okay.
I have to blind answer them. Okay.
Okay. So, well, I'll read them to you and I'll read the things down. Okay. So let's go number 3. So number 3 is, which celebrity would you want to have a one night stand with? So here's your choices: Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Ryan Gosling, or Margot Robbie.
That's an easy one for me now.
Oh,
I'm
Who's
gonna say,
Chris
Darragh, that you chose
I chose 2.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, bingo. Yeah, well, I meant to say that, yeah.
That's good. And then just give me a thumbs up when everybody's good.
can I get the answer choices again?
Sure. Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Ryan Gosling, and Margot Robbie.
Ryan Gosling all the way.
I know. I put that in there. It was actually supposed to be Ryan Reynolds, and I changed it because I was like, no,
I
I
also
don't
love
like
him too.
Oh.
Yeah, he's all right.
That would have been my choice, but
All right. So here's number 4. What's your go-to drink to get the party started? So it was vodka, tequila, whiskey, or beer. I tell you what, it's weird. Is it like this for any of you guys? Were you able to drink some type of liquor when you were younger, like in your early 20s, and then something different in your 30s and something different in your 40s? Like, I mean, did that ever happen?
As you age, taste buds change as you age.
Well, what did you used to drink before?
I used to drink a lot of cider when I was younger.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't know. I just can't drink that shit anymore. Like,
I've never been big on it.
I would love to try it.
Tequila and rum were like my thing back in the day, and now I can't even like stand the smell of it.
To be
Rum is my
fair,
go-to
I used
nowadays.
to be. Yeah, I used to have people that would take me around and then just put me full of as much alcohol as possible to see how much I could handle. So I never questioned what they started handing me random drinks and I just drank them. So the only thing I know is I can't do whiskey because I did have some Jack mixed with something at one point, and I was stripping in the room full of people that were on leave. So that was interesting because my boyfriend was in the.
Oh,
my gosh,
my
the unit,
Lord.
Yeah, it was.
that was like a good
I'm
thing.
gonna
Tequila
love
doesn't make your
Natasha on
clothes
every
fall off.
show.
So it's not tequila for Natasha.
No, that would be my
it's the
mother.
whiskey.
My mother's a tequila drinker. I am, well, pretty much everything else.
But does anyone like Jaeger?
Oh,
Ew, no.
Oh
come
no.
on now.
Love
I
it.
guess the party started.
Yes.
Let me
Oh,
tell
man,
you,
it gets-
Come on, David.
It's so provocative, but it gets
You
the people
licorice loving
going.
It
weirdos.
does.
Right?
It does.
Black
It does.
licorice. Yuck.
Oh, what about
Dude, I
Irish
love
car
black
bombs?
licorice.
What?
Irish car bombs.
What is that?
Jameson whiskey dropped in a Guinness, and then you chug it. It tastes like chocolate milk. It's the best thing ever.
Oh, I don't like
No.
beer.
Actually, I've never tried.
No, it's not good.
I don't like beer at all. So
I used to get fucked up on that shit. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I
So
used to
let's
get
go.
fucked up on a lot of shit. So.
Yep.
yeah.
And it's all different now. It's like now I'm like, have a beer. Ugh. Like, I don't know why it's like that. Okay. Number 5. Courtney, did you get the answers for everything on that one?
I didn't answer, but my answer would be beer probably. It's actually
Okay.
gin, but that wasn't an option. So
Well, you can keep it to yourself because we'll do it at the
Gin and
end.
juice.
I
But I
hope it's
just wanted to
flavored
make
gin that
sure.
you like. You don't like regular gin, do you?
Ooh.
Oh, I mean,
Regu-
I just drink
There's
regular
flavored
gin.
gin now. Like,
Does
I don't
anyone
know.
remember Hypnotic? The
Sounds
blue, it was blue colored and it was a fruit vodka. and you would use it. You could drink it as in shots if you want. But when I was a bartender, I would always make it. It was hypnotic vodka. And then you put a little bit of pineapple and a little blue Caraco on the top. And it was called a blue hippo. It
Dear
was
God.
the fucking best thing ever. You have to try hypnotic if you get a chance to go to the liquor store. Go pick it up. It's awesome. All right.
The day of Edema and Jolly Ranchers.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, that's bringing back some memories.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
I
And
don't know,
Jaeger bombs.
Oh
No
my God,
Jaeger
those are
bombs.
awful. I had to get escorted, carried to the bathroom by my cousin one night because we were doing Jaeger bombs and I'm literally half the size of them. So, and I was keeping up, which they thought was cool till I stood up to pee and then I had to go by the staircase. They didn't trust it. It was a bad deal.
Girl, let me tell you, same with me with Jaeger bombs. I was in one of the biggest clubs in Pittsburgh, and I got up on the thing to dance with all the other girls, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did this, but I took my thong off and I flung it at the DJ. I don't know
You,
why I did that.
slingshotted it. Did you slingshot the finger and everything? Just
Yes, I went
Yeah.
because he played two of my
The
songs
Robin
that I
Hood.
asked. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, that's awesome. You Robin Hooded his ass.
Here,
Maiden
smell my
Marian.
vagina.
Yeah. Tell me.
That's my type of night out.
It was a good night, though, let me tell you. All right, number 5. What's your guilty pleasure food? So we have the choices of pizza, ice cream, chocolate, and burgers. Take a few seconds, pick your thingy. And I remember that David's favorite ice cream is Jamocha chocolate chip,
so
right?
good.
Almond fudge, yes.
Almond
Good
fudge, yes.
call. I like it.
Yes, God almighty.
See how much I pay attention to what you said in your interview, David?
Yes, you do. I'm surprised and impressed. But what
All
about
right.
for those of us who don't like to drink, like smoke instead?
Yeah, you like to smoke weed, right?
No comment, but yes.
Okay.
Pleasure indeed.
Good man.
This is
good
adult
man.
themed, so. Oh,
Okay,
you
it's
mean
Legal in Maine. It's legal in Maine.
It's not legal here, so we'll just pretend you're with Kevin. Good
oh, is
Lord.
it really legal in Maine? Oh,
It's
I never
legal
heard
in
that.
Minnesota.
I didn't know
It
that.
is. We got stores all over the place.
So one more reason I need to go
Lucky
to Maine.
fucker.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Are you allowed to, when there's a state, because I don't know this, when there's a state that legalized, are you allowed to come from your state to go buy it there and bring it back?
No.
You
The
shouldn't.
moment you
You
cross the
can't-
border, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Even if you smoke, say you're on vacation and you go to California or whatever, and you smoke a lot there, and you come back and you get a random drug test and say my state where it's illegal, your ass is fired. You failed the drug screen. It does not matter if you were on vacation
Yeah.
when it happened.
Oh wow.
They don't
Okay.
care.
You get drug screening anywhere you get fired, even if it's in a legalized state.
But it's
Well,
like
how does
saying,
that work? Everybody's allowed to smoke pot as long as you ain't got a damn job. That
Well,
explains
it
a lot.
depends
I
on
mean,
what-
Drug
I don't know
testing.
how true that. I don't know if that. Well, at least in our state, I don't think it is. But
because it's not federally legal.
Not yet. It's still working on it though.
It's only state. Yeah, right. It's only
Right as we speak.
legal in certain states. So like for my job, I have a CDL, which is a federal license.
oh,
so if I
okay, that
get
makes sense.
tested, I would get fired.
Oh, I just figured if you worked at like Bob's Burgers or something in Maine, could you get high and then like go
Well,
to work?
Bob's
flipping
Go and
Burgers
eat
isn't
some
gonna drug
burgers.
test you to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you wreck, I don't know, you stick your head in a fryer vat. I don't know.
but
Well, now you know. 'cause I
but
just
if
told
you go buy it at another state and you cross your home state lines and you get pulled over, like say from a cop for speeding,
yeah, you're
they
screwed.
find it.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get
you're
charged
screwed.
You're
for
screwed.
transporting drugs too,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Possession,
Yeah, probably.
possibly the intent. Who knows?
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
why you have to smoke it while you're here.
Smoke it while you got it.
Yeah.
I went to a
This is
bar.
a great
rec-
podcast.
I love it. Right? Thank you. Thank you. It's going great so far. I'm kind of really excited. All right. So here's number 6. What's the most awkward place that you've run into an ex? At a party, at the
Ugh.
grocery store, at the gym, at a family event.
All of the above.
It wouldn't be a gym for me. And anyway,
My ex that I, good God, that checked all the boxes for all the weird places above. Yeah, one of those, it just so happens to be my brother-in-law now's best friend. So they're at everything, every birthday party, the wedding, all of it.
How
all of
does
it.
that work? Oh my God, that's
and everyone
awkward.
knows about it.
Double good.
Darragh, you said not at the gym?
Yeah, I haven't been in the gym since I was about 16.
Yeah, I don't do the
I'm
gym
sure
either.
you still look
I wouldn't
wonderful.
be seeing anyone in the gym, you know?
Well, okay. Well, I'll get to your. I want to know your answer then when we get it back around the beginning. Okay,
Mine
what's
is the gym.
the gym?
Mine
Well,
is
I
the
would
gym.
figure that.
Yeah, go figure.
She even blew kisses and winked at me too when I saw her, so that was even more awkward.
Oh boy.
Well, to be fair, I would have been a lot more aggressive.
How
than
did
that,
you
but
feel
just
about
saying.
that? How did you feel about that?
How's it feel to be
kinda,
catcalled, Kevin?
It kind of fucked with my head, to be honest with you.
Yeah, now you know what we have to deal with.
Was it a good breakup or a bad breakup, and that's why it was weird for you?
It was it was a rough one, to be honest with you, because this is the one that fucking like put me on my spiritual journey because she fucked with my head so much. And not saying that she did it on purpose or anything like that. It's just the way that the cookie had crumbled.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
wow.
That's deeper.
Shit just got deep. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
got
I'm
fucking
not drunk
deeper.
enough for this conversation. I'll
Oh
lift you up,
boy.
Kevin.
So you,
So-
so when she did that, it was more of like a mind fuck for you. Like
I
you
did-
did
yeah,
all of
that's-
this, and now
that-
you're doing this.
Yeah, it wasn't like
Yeah,
a
'cause
cute wink
We had
thing.
a
It
house
was
together and everything.
Oh,
and
shit.
Wow.
She's just like, fucking, let's move out. I'll move in with my mom. You move in with your dad. I was like, oh, are you making the decisions?
Oh wow.
well, it's
then
better. It's
she
better than
want-
finding out they're fucking your sister's roommate
That's true.
when you're
That's
home
That
with
is
the
very
baby.
true.
true.
David's like, wait, these youngins anymore.
No, I can't. I haven't ran into any of my exes in forever, and I don't even remember if I ever have. Honestly, thank
What's
God.
your trick?
They're probably high.
I like that.
Probably from some other state, more like
Maybe
it.
you saw them. You just thought they were somebody else.
No. Most of my ex-girlfriends are out of state now.
Yeah.
So it's like
That's a good way to keep 'em.
LA.
I have an ex that lives out of state, and I still see him.
Oh, boy.
Wow, really? Where?
So well, actually, it was really nice, but we still get along and everything. So his nephew is one of my son's best friends. And
Oh,
so
wow.
they play
Okay.
sports together. I see him he'll drive from like Ohio here and watch the games, and I'll see him and talk to him. I talk to him and his wife, and
Oh my gosh.
I sit with his dad. Like it's just the whole thing.
I haven't, so I'm happy. I don't want to see any of them. All right, number 7. What's your favorite type of music to set the mood? Would it be R&B, jazz, rock, or pop? Courtney, which one would you pick?
Can I be honest? I'm a sucker for pop music.
Ooh.
For stuff like that. Pop music. Lady Gaga.
He's probably over there twerking it. That's why it's so exciting.
I love Lady Gaga.
He's going all Tokaloshi.
Lady Gaga is fucking unreal. I think.
Oh, I love Lady Gaga. I
like Silk with Freak Me, you know. Baby, let
Freak
me
me,
lick
baby.
you up and down.
God, don't do this to me,
till
Kevin.
you say stop. Let me play with your body, baby. Make you real hot. Yeah.
Love it.
Let me
To
do
be
all
fair-
the things you want me to do.
I think
Jesus.
it makes
Tonight, baby, I wanna get freaky with you.
How about
Baby,
leave
don't
your
you
hat
understand? Remember that?
What? Sorry, I'm still like processing what just happened. Give me a second. Oh my gosh,
was
I
some
feel
good
like I'm, like,
jams
beat
back
red.
then.
It was.
Well, this is the whole point of After Hours Live and Uncut.
Yeah, it's just Kevin knows the backstory here, so he understands. He gets me. But I think it really depends on the
I
day
saw
and my
your
mood.
insides. I mean, I know you from inside out.
Oh God, I wish
Is there
you
a
saw
bit
my
of history
insides.
between you two?
I wish. God, in my dreams, literally in my dreams,
missing
this
something here?
happened. Oh, one of these days, Kevin. One of these days.
All right,
Oh,
what's
boy.
your biggest turn off on a
Oh.
date? Is it bad breath, talking about exes, being on their phone, or being rude to wait staff?
Fucking all of it, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
I'm with
I'd
you.
almost take every single one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, maybe if they're
Bad
bad
breath,
breath, you
fucking
can
definitely
time your
fuck me.
breathing to where it won't be as bad.
I've done that. I've been in that situation before.
Because I mean, depending on where the date goes, you might not be near their face long enough to deal with it.
Let me tell the whole bad breath thing just triggered a horrible memory, and let me share it real quick. So I'll try to make long story short. So when I was in high school, I had this really big crush with a guy named Justin Safran, and he had a best friend. It was named Chad Proper, and they called him Chippy because they were all jocks and stuff, Well, Justin wanted to set me up on a date with Chippy, and I said yes because of the fact I like Justin. I don't know how I thought that was going to work out in any way great for me,
women's minds, girl math.
Brain.
But let me ask you all, who remembers the movie Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead?
I
do. I remember.
Yep.
Christina Applegate in one of her first movies. Yep. So he takes me to that movie. And the whole time, this is what I'm hearing.
I can't.
He is licking my ear the entire time.
What the
he
fuck?
Just thank goodness he let the previews go by. And then it was like 5 minutes into the movie and he was already like, I'm like 16 years old and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I mean, his tongue he had the worst breath. He had like zits all over his face and his tongue was like a demon tongue, just like trying to pierce my
that
brain.
Might not be too bad, but the rest of it was gross.
That's all I heard. I was like, I could only hear out of one ear because it was so loud. It was like
moving quick.
Oh, it was so nasty, Darragh. It was so nasty.
Oh,
it was so gross. Okay, Courtney, are you still there?
Here.
Okay, well,
taken aback by that whole situation.
Would you say all of them as well, Courtney? All of them, bad breath, talking
particular, about I mean, I don't like any of those, but what really pisses me off is when you're nasty to wait staff.
Yeah,
because I work in customer service, so that would take the cake. I would leave immediately.
Especially nowadays, where I don't know how you all feel, but like the restaurant service is a pretty shitty service to be in. And these days, especially when you have, I worked in it for years. I worked as a bartender, a waitress. Really enjoyed it. I liked it back in the day, but now when kids don't want to work and they're making people's businesses go to shit because they suck. There's not good waiters and waitresses like there used to be, 10, 15, 20 years ago. I was a great waitress at B-Dubs.
B-Dubs of all places.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, for sure. I was in a college town and I was young and skinnier and it was great.
I loved it. I made some
I got all kinds of tips, if you know what I mean. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I have
the manager at my B-Dubs wanted to date me.
Yeah, mine too. I wasn't really into him. So
anyway.
Scandal.
I have a funny date story for you.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell it, girl.
This date story almost prevented me from going on a date with Jeremy.
Oh shit.
Yeah, literally.
Okay.
So I had a date on a Tuesday night with this guy, and I was supposed to go on a date with Jeremy on Saturday, the first date. And I canceled my date with Jeremy because of this guy.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Didn't you tell me this before, Tracy?
I might have. I'm not sure.
Not the whole story, but something about you almost didn't get to be with Jeremy because of something. So
spill the tea.
I'm sorry.
Spill the tea.
This guy picked me up. We went out to dinner. We went to a restaurant that was familiar, that I knew some of the wait staff and stuff because I had been in a relationship for a long time with my baby daddy, and my baby's daddy. And so I was totally new back to being in the dating field and everything. So anyway, we go out to dinner. I had Invisalign at the time, so I excused myself to take out my Invisalign. And the guy was like, why did you have to do that? And I'm like, because I'm not going to take out my Invisalign and, whatever. So he was mad that I left the table to do that. And then we were ordering, it was like a pizza bar type place. And we were ordering pizza. And I said I wanted a garbage pizza. And he's like, well, with no onions, right? And I'm like, no.
This is the first date?
First date. I'm like,
what's a garbage pizza?
Garbage pizza's like, usually like pepperoni
Is
sausage.
that like Supreme?
Yeah, Supreme, basically.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm following you. Right.
So he goes, well, no onions, right? And I looked at him and I was kind of like, let's go, double onions, lots of peppers.
You didn't.
I did. And
I love
guy rubbed me wrong right out of the gate. And then we were sitting there and I went to eat my pizza and he's doing this. It's just staring at me.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
And I was like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm watching you eat. And I'm like, the hell you
What
are.
a creepy person.
No, my second husband did that. He loved
Exactly,
to watch me
David.
eat.
Exactly.
No
Was he eating it? Was he eating it
No,
all with
I
you,
bet
or
he
was he
wouldn't.
just staring at you?
Just
oh my
staring
God.
at me.
Is he a serial killer?
I
No.
don't know.
I was gonna say it's fucking creepy.
I know a guy.
Back tub.
So then,
Of course you do, Natasha.
I married him, so
What?
So then I stopped eating, and I'm like, you know what? Let's get away from the food part, whatever. So we went and played pool.
Okay.
He was kicking my ass in pool and gloating about it,
Oh,
and
boy.
was
I
just
can't-
like,
I can't
I'm
say anything.
so good. There's no way anybody can beat me, blah, blah, blah. Well, I had been on Dart League for like 6 years and I noticed the dartboards over in the corner. And I was like,
get it, girl.
let's go play some darts.
Hell yeah,
So
let's do it.
Yes.
I had him so mad that he like took all 3 darts and just whipped them. And then I kind of gave a look to one of the bartenders that was friends with my sister. And I kind of, gave him a come here look. And he came over, gave me a great big hug. The guy got all mad.
Yep.
He goes, you
I
are
know the
showing
type.
affection to another guy while we're out on a date. And I'm like, you know what? Just bring me
What a
home.
weird person.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then
Did
it
he
gets
live in
better.
his mom's basement?
I
Because that's the
don't
kind of
know.
vibe I'm getting.
So somebody I met online. And
Oh, yep. Yep.
yeah. So then we get to my sister's. I was living with my sister at the time. Like I said, I had just left a long-term relationship, hadn't got everything established myself yet. And we were sitting in the car. I'm like, okay, well, thank you. And I was putting on chapstick. And he goes, that stuff tastes horrible. Put this on instead. And I looked
I
at him.
wanna
I'm
hear the
like,
next one.
awfully presumptuous, aren't you?
Did he give you a used tube of chapstick?
It was a Mountain Dew chapstick.
Oh,
Was it
fuck.
Code Red?
Baja Blast.
So I got out of the car, slammed the
Or
door.
Baja Beach, whatever that is.
Right,
Baja Blast.
Yes.
Well, he actually chased me up to the door. He's like, "What? I don't even get a kiss goodnight?" And I'm like, "No, you don't.
my
And you
God.
don't ever."
What the fuck?
Get
Here,
a
eat
big
this
ol'
I
chapstick.
hate Mountain Dew.
Get out of
Just
here
chew
with
on
your
this
entitled
chapstick.
ass.
Yeah.
So I was with
Chew on the
chew on the chapstick. So I was with the same guy from basically off and on through high school, and then into my early 30s, and then we separated, and that was like the first date I had gone on. And I'm like, I'm not ready for this. Not ready.
Yeah.
So I messaged Jeremy and I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I'm not ready. And then he, kindly was like, we'll drive separately. We'll meet at a, mutual place. We'll take the date step by step. And I was like, all right, so we'll go for a walk around the lake. If we don't like it, we'll just leave, So that's all history. Obviously, it did work out with us, but
That was a horrible experience for you.
horrible.
Okay, so that guy sounds like 3 people I think I've dated all merged into one. So my husband number 2. Yeah, I know I'm on number 3, but number 2, he had this thing where he liked to feed me and he liked to watch me eat.
Ew.
Oh.
Is this like in an
What is all
intimate
that,
way?
Yeah, like
It's
well,
put
at
the
all.
lotion on its skin.
Yeah, it was really weird. And what was so frustrating is so when I met him, I was like 127 pounds. I was like nothing. And he was happier whenever he was, force feeding me food, basically like Hansel and Gretel shit. And I was there for like 8 years. The next thing I know, I'm like, hungry hippo. But yeah, he was weird like that. He had the thing about watching me eat. It was really strange. So I totally get that vibe. But to me, if we're going and if we're on a date, we're playing pool, you better not fucking let me win or I'll be pissed.
That's
I'm
really
too competitive for that.
I have to admit, I've never met like a guy that would do that. Even friends, not even anybody I dated, but even friends, guy friends. That's like that dude was a dick, Tracy.
Oh yeah.
Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
But bump.
Yeah, it was over the top. And there was more things that happened too. That was just the toppings on the cake.
Oh, honey, he sounds a lot like this guy I dated from New York that I met online. And wait, what was his name? What was the first letter of his first name?
I don't even remember.
Oh, okay.
Fuckhead.
Was it the same guy?
An F.
Okay, no, not the same guy. Okay, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even remember. It wasn't worth the memory, I guess.
I wonder whatever happened to him. I would love to know what happened to him.
No
Are we some
idea.
sleuthers?
Oh,
I found out the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
After I left his ass because he was just really weird, and then he was fucking some girl from Walmart in the electronics department.
Not Target. Damn,
and
goes low.
What he doesn't realize is because of my awesome abilities I have, I'm basically a human lie detector, so he didn't have a chance. But anyway, so I dumped his ass, and then he went out and married another girl with my same name. And 3 years later, called me and was like, hello. And I was like, it was like an iPhone call. So I didn't have his number. It was just an email. And I'm like, well, that looks familiar. Why does that email look so familiar? I couldn't figure it out. And then I answered and it was him. And I was like,
oh my God.
I had just had surgery. And I was like, hello?
How awkward is that?
He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I meant to call my wife. And I was like, what do you mean your wife? And he's like, my wife's name's Natasha. I was like, there's no way. I Googled it. He's not kidding. It really is Natasha. Like I've seen pictures of her.
I always used to say, my name is Natasha, but you can call me Naughty.
How have I never? What? Oh my gosh.
I got a new one for you. There you go.
Opportunity wasted.
All right, let's go. Let's see. Next one. Oh, okay. So what's your go-to karaoke song? So Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, Like a Virgin by Madonna, Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi, Loser by Beck, or I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor.
I feel like Bohemian Rhapsody would be a very hard song to sing karaoke.
It's actually not too bad if you haven't.
You haven't been to American karaoke bars. Everybody and their mother tries to sing that shit, and it's cringe.
I actually know a couple ladies that slay it. They do an amazing job, and I love it. They're great. So it's my sister and her friend. They do choir and all that stuff, or did. I guess they're old now, so like the rest of us. But they do a really good job. So I usually I actually go to karaoke like locally here, and I actually have people that come in and pick songs for me because they like certain songs that I sing. But one of them is Coal Miner's Daughter.
Oh, I love that song. I love that movie too.
I work very hard to make this sound normal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not always like that. Kevin's probably seen me busted a couple times because I think it might have slipped up in our recording.
But we do a bit of karaoke at the end of the episode.
I actually have karaoke equipment in my house.
We do. We have a whole karaoke system in our garage as well.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
No, you know what we'll do?
Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Yeah, that's my mom's.
What we'll do is the next time we do an After Hours Live is that we'll make it like a karaoke edition too, like where we'll do half of something for an hour and then the last hour do karaoke. Oh my gosh, that would be fucking hilarious.
For my 100th episode, which is it's a while away, I'm only on like 28 or 29. But whenever I get to 100, either 100 episodes or my 1 year anniversary, I wanted to do something like set up like that to be like the beginning part. Mm-hmm. Or something, just to have it in there just because.
That would be cool. Yeah. I've never heard of anyone doing that on a podcast. That would be something neat to try. I would like that. That's cool.
I'm weird.
No, you're not weird. I love you. This is like the first time I've met her and she's just like off the chart. I love her. Like I thought I was the only person that was like that. Okay. So let's do, you know what, though, go back to karaoke. How many times have you gone to a karaoke bar and fucking bitches tried to sing Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston?
Oh my God.
Shania Twain.
Torch it. Oh, I would sing Shania all the time.
That is the worst. That bitch can't even sing herself.
I love her.
The only reason
Shania
she got
Twain.
any deals is because
That's
of what
Kat.
she looked
Shania
like.
Twain.
It had nothing to do with her voice. If
Shania
every
Twain.
drunk hillbilly across the nation can karaoke your song, you're not a good singer.
Oh, that's true though. But I've never seen anybody do Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey. Like,
No way.
you can't touch them. You can't touch them. Okay. What's your
Can't touch
favorite
us.
way to unwind after a stressful day? This is the last question.
The
So,
option was not on there that I liked.
okay. Oh, I'm going to take a guess, but I'm not going to say it. A long bath, watching TV, exercising, or reading a book, or playing with a dolphin.
I was gonna say long, but not a bath.
He sent Natasha a mold of mine, so that's what she uses.
Oh my gosh, ready to go check the mail? Don't get me excited, Kevin. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Dude, do you guys remember the ones that had, because like I had one, it was like with a dolphin and then it
I
had
have a rabbit.
pearls.
Mine's a
in-
bunny, and it's
and then it would.
yeah.
What the fuck? What the fuck is
Vibrating
happening?
I can't relate to
dildos,
this.
boys.
Me neither.
It had pearls.
What about you, David?
Yes, it was pearls
And
at the bottom, and they would rub
rotated.
together. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they still
It
have
was
those.
unreal. And like, I don't
Yeah, it
know
was.
who.
My
it was
tongue
crazy.
does that.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, I might have to turn my camera off for a second.
She gets the paper towels out first. Okay, so going back
After
through,
She's got
let's end the
Kleenex
poll.
right there.
I've always got Kleenex in here.
Share results.
My husband, we
Okay.
laughed about because when I was walking out there, he's like, are you not going to put pants on? And I was like, do I ever have pants on when I'm recording anything?
Oh, my
I was like, I
survey
pod with no
cleared out.
pants. It's my thing.
That should be a lot of people's thing because it would probably work out to be a pretty crazy ass podcast. You can
Well, it's
kind of
hot
let
as hell out
yourself
here,
loose
too.
a little better, you
And
know,
he's like, well, you're not even going to put a bra on. I'm like,
get a little air in
no.
there. Okay,
like,
so
why?
let's look at the stats. So, what's your preferred date night activity? Pretty much, it said Netflix and chill. Was that about everybody's?
Yeah.
Courtney, what about you?
I said dinner and a movie, but I can be persuaded otherwise.
With a
if
little
that's what everyone
tequila?
else is saying.
All right, I'd have to say, I'd have to say a Netflix and chill too. I definitely would.
I'm still a sucker for nightclubs. I love dancing in nightclubs. You know,
I used to go. That's the thing.
I
used
like
to
doing
go to
something
those.
like an active. A
That'd be
lot of
some active.
times, like hiking or some bullshit.
Sorry. I love how I
So,
just
like,
put my headphones on. That's all I heard.
Long
better
walks on
watch.
the beach.
You better watch,
Oh.
Kevin. She might start selling your.
I was going to make
thing.
voodoo dolls. They're on my list of things to make,
Oh my gosh!
along with all my little guys back here.
What's the craziest place that you've hooked up? Everyone's the biggest poll was at work.
What?
Yep.
The
Not
freezer.
me.
never.
At work?
Someone do tell.
So I was 16 and I was in the Dunkin' Donuts freezer with a 30-year-old woman.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh shit.
Man after my own heart.
tell me. So was there like a attraction for a while? And like, did you guys
Well,
date any?
I
or
mean, she was a woman, so I was attracted to her. at
you know what I'm
16.
trying to
Well,
say.
I suddenly don't like any of your compliments since you have such wide acceptances.
No, I mean,
That's what I
I
mean.
mean, she's a woman. She was a woman. Like she was
Oh.
So you didn't want
a
girls your
woman.
age. You
She was
wanted
like
a
Jessica
woman.
Rabbit.
fucking
Yeah, okay.
woman, dude.
Gotcha.
And she was very sweet. And then I don't know, like she just commented on how cute I was all the time. And then one day happened to be in the freezer together, and then we were the only two working that
And my
was a
dick fell into
perfect
that.
And then I don't know, and then her,
It was
her
cold. You slipped us
titties
some ice.
fell
And
out, and then it was
Yep.
it was like really fast, and there was no talking. It just happened.
Wow. And did you guys eat like little donut holes instead of smoke a cigarette afterwards? You like were like taking some bites of donuts and like, oh my
I was
god.
just
is
like,
Robinson.
I
That's
was
where the
leaned up
donut holes
against the
came from.
freaking thing, and I was just drinking this coffee. Like,
oh my God. I
yeah,
just
that was
pictured
good.
I just pictured you with a bunch of donuts like hanging on it. And she was eating the donuts.
probably like 10 of them,
Ugh,
Boston cream.
maybe 8.
I need a refill on my coffee.
Does anyone have an other at work story?
Not that I can probably mention.
Okay.
Okay.
Tracy, David, just in
Yes.
general, what's the craziest place you've ever hooked up?
In a bathtub in a house under construction.
Was it the one that you were building?
No, my father was building a house. I lost my virginity in a bathtub in a house my dad was building. So I'm
Good lad.
under
Touche.
construction.
Nice.
It was up above Sunset Boulevard on the north of the Strip, and he was building this house. And I'll never forget, we were just in this jacuzzi tub, and that was it. It was just amazing.
Damn.
So needless to
Living
say,
the
that
dream,
house
bro.
passed your.
There
that
was
house
no
passed
water
your
in it either, by
inspection.
the way. There's no water. It was just a dry tub.
Ow, that's gonna hurt. There's like,
Hey,
No,
that's a
okay.
good question I have to ask real quick is, do you feel it's good sex in the water or out of the water?
I don't like it. I don't like water in general.
Yeah, I
so
don't-
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
don't-
say it's
I
got to be
think
so.
out.
How are you
Yeah,
you
alive?
can't
be
get
out
as
of
much
the water,
force. You
but
can't get as much
in the
force
water
in the
kinda
water.
sucks.
Because it just feels like you can't get that traction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can't get the
Traction
enough
and
gusto.
for some reason
Right.
things dry up in the water.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Go
and
ahead,
then the
Natasha.
friction isn't correct.
So, I mean, I've had a
Friction.
couple instances where I've been handcuffed to a playground, or
Oh yes, I remember you told me
yeah,
the story.
Kevin knows this. I've also pulled a B&E at a sale barn.
Oh my
during the
gosh.
off hours, and we did it right there at the desk where they do their paperwork.
I have a playground story. It wasn't a work, but you know
Oh,
what's the
shit,
thing where
yeah.
you jump on it and you spin? Like
The
you-
swing?
The
no,
merry-go-round.
the merry-go-round. It's like at a park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh no, I was
did
like
that
at the
there.
top, and I was just handcuffed to
I
the
was
bars.
hammered,
the
but I
cop
did it
pulls
there,
up.
and it was hard because that shit's like steel metal. You
Yeah.
know, when you're laying on it, and I had like divots in my back for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
Oh my lord. Okay, next one. Which celebrity would you want to have a one night stand with? Okay, so pretty easy. The guys picked Scarlett Johansson. The
I did.
girls mainly picked Chris Hemsworth.
I
Oh,
picked
you
both.
said.
I
I
picked
actually
both.
picked Margot Robbie.
Oh, okay.
Picked them both.
So-
I
Wolf
didn't
of Wall
answer.
Street. Wolf of Wall Street. Oh my god.
Oh, I love that
Oh, yeah.
movie.
I just don't know who
That's
that
all I
is.
say.
That's
Yeah.
a
Margot
great
Robbie.
movie.
She plays
Leo.
Barbie.
I'm not good
Harley
with names. I
Quinn.
gotta
She
know.
she's the new Barbie.
Harley
She plays
Quinn.
Barbie in the
Barbie.
film.
I was gonna say
Yep.
she's Barbie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Barbie or
no. I'm
Harley
sorry.
Quinn.
I like somebody who
I
has
did
some
not like that
assets.
movie. I did not like that movie at all.
I didn't answer that question.
I didn't get that. Why?
Because I'm not on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
All right. So, what's your go-to drink to get the party started? So, it says that the amount of people said vodka, but you said, would you say, Courtney? Didn't you say beer, but maybe whiskey?
Gin, preferably. So
on ice or mixed with something?
Gin and juice, bro.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Gin and
straight.
tonic.
Looks
Ooh.
good. I just really like gin.
Oh, see, I'm boring. Like I'd rather just drink beer. At
That
least I
doesn't
know
surprise
how
me at
many,
all.
how many,
The Irishman
how
loves
many,
beer.
how many beers I can drink. I can kind of like know like my limit. Where if I drink like say 10 vodkas and cokes, I don't know where that's gonna do me. Like,
That's our genetics.
you know?
Yep. I would have to say, like, tequila would make me go fucking crazy back in the day. Like crazy. I
make
would
your
be the
clothes fall
first
off.
one.
I had
Yeah, totally. Like, I mean, I would be the first one out on the dance floor and be the last one out on the dance floor. I dehydrate myself before I would stop drinking because tequila just made you go like whack. You didn't even know what time it was, nothing.
Tequila
fair.
is actually
taking
an
fucking
upper.
drugs.
Oh, I was up.
Actually an upper.
That explains my problem.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
So-
So yeah.
My buddy, one of my good friends, Mark, he's from he's Mexican and he's originally from San Antonio.
Mhm.
And he was I used to drink tequila like nobody's business. And he's like, we went out one night, it was just him and I, and he's like, did you know that tequila is meant to be sipped on rocks like a whiskey or a
Mhm.
bourbon or something? And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, you're not supposed to drink that shit in shots. I was like, well, I drink it in shots because it tastes like shit.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
I fucking put
Truth.
it down my throat as fast as I possibly
Exactly.
can.
I
Oh
would
my
I
God.
would
He's
hold
like,
my
"No, you
nose
gotta-"
even.
Yeah, and he's like, no, you got to sip it. So he got us a small glass of vodka. I mean, tequila on the rocks, and I freaking took a sip of it. And ever since then, I can't even like be around tequila. I'm just like, I can't do it now.
Ew.
Does anyone else get that when you smell it, you almost want to gag?
Not
Yeah.
tequila.
Really?
I
Oh,
don't.
If
I don't
smell
like
it, I'm like,
Jack or Jim or any of that stuff.
Risky.
I mean, if tequila's in orange juice, I can definitely do it. But if tequila's
I've
by
never tried that.
itself, I can never. I
ooh,
can never do that
tequila and
again.
orange juice.
Sunrise.
Tequila sunrise, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh. Has anyone done a whiskey with a pickleback shot?
No.
What?
Oh,
I'd say I
How
have.
the
That's a-
only time
that's
I've
a-
done that.
ooh, you did
I-
it, Courtney. Yes.
Okay. Senior
I don't
in
drink that often.
college, my
Oh.
friend had like school was doing a bar crawl
Mhm.
for the graduating seniors, so they invited me to go, and I was like, sure. She introduces me to this guy who turns out she ends up marrying him like later on down the road, and I wanted him to like me because I could tell she really liked him. So I met him
Oh.
like shot for shot on picklebacks. Then we went back to their dorm. I smoked a keef bowl, so like just straight keef. It got
don't
to the
know what
point where I
that
literally
means.
thought
I'm so
aliens were
lost.
invading. She had to lock me in her dorm because I was that fucked up.
I don't know what half of that
Dude,
meant,
Sheldon,
but that
oh,
sounds cool.
Dude,
Sounds like a
that's
good time.
hilarious, Courtney. You actually
That's a
saw
fun memory.
aliens?
No, okay, so I was like, I'm really created. So she brought me back to her room. Her roommates were coming home. She lived in this like 4-person apartment. Her roommates were coming home. They were also fucked up. I don't know what they were doing out there, but in my mind, I was like, oh, aliens are invading. So I locked her dorm, like her actual bedroom door. And she came back in like the middle of the night. She's like, Courtney, let me in. I'm like, no, the aliens are invading.
Oh my God.
And she's like, if aliens are invading, they would be in there already. Let me in my fucking room.
Courtney, I
Yeah.
would pay to see that.
I would have
I've seen it in
too.
a movie.
Tried
Come
to
on.
walk in
Poor
a reality.
thing. You
Shit.
poor thing. That's
that's
scary
what
though when
aliens
you
are for.
start. I've never. What is keef exactly? I've heard
Go
of
ahead,
it.
go ahead,
That, like
Kevin.
come off of like I don't know how to explain it other than that.
It's like shake. It's like shake.
Oh.
What's that? I don't know what that is either.
I don't
It's
I'm
either.
the dust
ignorant.
that comes
Is that
off the
just
weed.
keef?
basically.
It's from weed.
Yeah.
Oh.
The dust that comes off the
content.
weed.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So what is it supposed to be
like-
like stronger?
Leaf garbage?
Yeah, basically.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
as potent.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
it still
Well,
does
it
the
was for
job.
Courtney.
So if we're going to have a good time, see Courtney.
Yeah.
Right? Got it. Got it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't party like that anymore, but
Well, I want to
Hi, my
get
name is
on.
These
Rod and I
reasons.
party.
I want to get on to the part where we're sharing some stories because I know David has to leave early. So I'm going to let David start. David, I don't know what stories you were bringing to the table, but tell me something that you. Oh, like did you know you
I
have
couldn't
paranormal
find anything
activity.
that happened on specifically Memorial Day here at the house. That's the thing. I was thinking Memorial Day.
Well, just share some of your craziest experiences at the Omen House.
Well,
Oh, and
crazy-
talk about your movie too,
Oh,
please.
great. We got 4 minutes to do that in. Well, crazy experiences like we've had the faucets turn on. It's happened to three different times to 3 different people, myself included. But one of my friends, Karan Gallagher from Gallagher's Pub down in Long Beach, was here for a party, and his wife was here. His wife goes into the 3rd level guest bathroom, and she's sitting there. And apparently, I said, "Hey, Saran, where's your wife?" He goes, "She's in the car." I said, "Why is she in the car?" He goes, "She used the 3rd level guest bathroom, and while she was using the bathroom, the faucets both turned on full force in front of her, and she freaked out and basically bailed out of the house."
Of course she would. Holy shit. If I saw that too, I'd bail.
Oh yeah,
Like if the things actually turned in front of her, hell yeah.
I'm
she never
horrible.
came back.
Has anyone seen any investigations on the Omen House?
I think
I
I saw the
personally have
Ghost
not.
Adventures one.
The
Yeah,
Ghost
God-
Adventures.
God help us.
Yeah, God help us on
A
that
very
one.
good,
Granted, I love Zach
accurate
and everything.
prediction.
Yeah, Courtney and I, we love Zach.
Aaron,
David.
the
Sometimes
ghosts
he can be a
think
little
that
bit
I'm
crazy.
I
Yeah.
do not.
Touching me,
I'm not
not
going to get
you.
started. He's a joke.
Apparently,
Yep.
I'm sorry, Farrah, you like him. I do not.
He's the reason I don't watch anything paranormal on TV because to me it's all fucking made up and fake. So,
But so
Fucking
many
ditto.
people, so
Ditto.
many people have gone to David's house though and done great investigations. If you want to look
Yeah.
at some other ones, Barrier Beyond, the Paranormal Files,
Grim Life Collective.
yep. I mean,
Where
they
is it
have
at?
some.
Oh my gosh. It's down the street from Sharon Tate's on Cielo Drive Private.
I don't know anything. I barely even know my way around town.
No. Like as in famous in history in 1969, Manson and the Manson family slaughtered Sharon Tate and like 4 others. He lives just feet from where that happened. So his house is insanely haunted with JC Bring, one of the guys that was killed. David actually saw him before he saw a picture of him to be able to say after the fact when he saw the picture, yeah, this is the guy that I saw at the end of my bed. So yeah, you definitely have to go watch more than Ghost Adventures because people caught some crazy shit there.
Get a hold of me later. I'd love to have you on the show.
Jeremy and I just recorded a Manson episode this weekend.
Oh yeah, it's such a great, it's one of the staples in history. It's sad and everything, but it goes to show how crazy cults can be, but also the paranormal aspect of it is just amazing. Well, and David wrote
the pictures.
What's that? Oh yes. When we did it, we did a when we looked at the crime scene pictures from, I think it was from the La Bianca house though.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, they actually had caught like a mist in front of the La Bianca house. It was crazy. It was like back in old photography. The cops that were doing like crime scene photos didn't even know until after the fact what they had caught, because all of us today knows what it looks like.
Right.
But I want David to be able to talk about his movie real quick because I watched his movie and his movie's fucking awesome. And I want you all to watch it.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah.
The movie's called House at the End of the Drive. It was inspired by Sharon Tate's spirit. Whoops.
There you go.
Upside down.
Here we are.
This wasn't that nice. Whoops, look this way. It's a ghost story thriller, Twilight Zone type of a feature. Basically, it's a semi-autobiographical story about a guy who buys a house on a private drive, doesn't know that the neighbors' houses are afflicted, but they were all part of this one big estate where 46 years earlier, 4 people were brutally murdered. I fudged around with the murders because I didn't want to be beholden to the Sharon Tate murders and then be stuck with the Manson Sharon Tate story. Because once you do that, it brings more attention to the family than it does to Sharon Tate and the victims. And I was kind of like trying to steer clear of bringing that. And I didn't want to do a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right.
You made the fantasy. It's like, oh yeah, of course. Now I've got people coming up and going, where's Clint's house? It's like, huh? From Once Upon a Time, I'm going, that's Studio City. There is no house with a pane window backyards leading to a backyard with a swimming pool.
I thought you did a great job. I liked how you did it. It didn't do the focus of it. It had the focus of the guy that bought the house. Like I liked that all. And I think, yes, you guys need to go and watch it. Didn't you write a book too, David?
Wrote a book, Goes to Cielo Drive, as a matter of fact, to basically set the story straight about my experiences here in the house. Because as we all know, Zach Baggins took a hatchet to my story and said that your house is built on native ceremonial burial grounds. That's a big no-no.
And he got possessed.
The hell it is. There's no gosh on hillside strength, his hillside graveyards for the Native Americans. They had flat land they could have built their graveyards on and their burial sites, not the hillsides. Come on.
I loved Zach back in the day. Zach's problem is that every time one of his buddies or a guest or the people it's like their own house or something, and they say, oh, I just felt this. It's, oh yeah, I felt that when I came in too, but I wasn't going to say anything. It's always about him. And I wish he would just kind of, especially nowadays where the paranormal is getting so much more popular and we're starting to find out answers a little more, it would be nice for him to shut the fuck up and let other people have their experiences.
Agreed.
Well, my thing too, there's so much stuff out there that really happens. I mean, hell, like Kevin, when we recorded, Mr. Phillip was in here and the entire time we're recording, my sensors are going off. it happens all the time here. Last night, my lights were flickering, stuff falls off here. I'm actually going to make a post about it because my remote went missing. They played a prank on me and it was missing for 2 days till I finally came in here and I was like, all right, I tore this place apart for an hour and a half. Couldn't find this remote. And I finally sat down because it's the one that controls my lights and there's no switch. It's literally without the remote, there's no light. And I'm like, well, I can't record without this. I was like, I sat down in my chair. I was like, all right, fine. Put it somewhere where I can find it. Good one. Joke's on me. Ha ha. Please put it back. And I left and I came back 2 days later and the remote was centered underneath my chair.
No
just
way.
Sitting there. Yeah, I should you not. And so I'm like, there's so much stuff like that happens. But then there's, people out there like him that are screwing everything. So then nobody believes anything that's happening because this asshole.
I like David's house is actually what I like about David's house is that he puts a really good personal aspect on it because he has a DVR and has everywhere like jacked up with cameras. So like he can see, he's the only person that I know that like really lives in a haunted place that's seriously haunted and does so many people's gone there and they are verifying it. And even his own stuff is verifying it. So I'm so glad that you came on and we're able to meet everybody because hopefully you'll get some more watches and views on your
I'm definitely going to be checking them out now after this show.
Yeah, the YouTube channel. We got stuff. We've had stuff that happens there. A couple of weeks ago, I was going to the third floor and I was going into the guest bedroom and the door was locked. And I was down here 4 hours earlier vacuuming because I had company coming over. And I said, that's straight out of crazy. What does the door, and as I walked backwards, the recliner, the leg rest goes up and I'm like, well, what the oh my God, the recliner went up and it's electric. So you have to push the button and it activates the leg rest. I'm going, and I watched the video, I'm going, oh shit.
Oh my God. Yeah. And he always has those figurines on top of his TV stand, like all these, like even the same ones, knock over. And I think it's honestly to like communicate with him, like to say, hey, I'm here.
Attention now.
Maybe, I think so.
Yeah, I sit and talk to mine all the time. And they
all those right there?
They'll do stuff. So they specifically, there's this little green one. For some reason, they really like to knock it off. That's why I moved it to the lower one because I had it.
Oh, he's cute.
Where this gray one in the back was. And there were 2 or 3 items in front of it. And somehow this green one, I would come in here multiple times and it would just be on the floor. And somehow it got past the other ones without knocking the other ones down. And I'm like, seriously, guys? And I'd put it back up. And then they'd come in and it'd be off. I'm like,
when Courtney and I recorded with David, there were black darts of shadows
happening now. I've been watching it.
No, really? You're here, aren't you, kids?
It hasn't happened as much as when the 3 of us were recording, but just every once in a while here, I've seen like a blip go across your screen.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's happening again.
And didn't you see a black shadow behind me the other day, Courtney, when we were recording?
Yeah, we were recording the other night. And like, what did I say the timestamp was? Like 7:34?
Yeah, 7:34.
Or something like that. And I was like, I'm just not going to say anything until after it's over because we were like in the middle of a conversation with guests who like, they were talking about aliens and like, that's their kind of like work is ufology. So I didn't want to be like, there's a ghost standing behind you. But afterwards, we all stop and I'm like, Farrah, I need to talk to you before you get off the call. And she goes, before you guys do that, our guest was like, did you see the ghost standing there? And we were all like, yeah, I did. And Farrah was like freaking out because she obviously didn't see it behind her. But we were like, apparently me and this girl were like, oh my God. Like Leslie and I were just like, this is happening right before our eyes on camera.
Yep.
So
that's why I record all mine because weird stuff happens. It's like the thing with Kevin. Like it had been dead. And what's funny is, so when Kevin came on, as soon as Kevin came on, I had 4 sensors set up like it randomly in the back. And one in particular was going off and it went off the entire hour and a half we recorded. Then I got off with him. 5 minutes later, I recorded with the suspended sentence girls. Nothing. It was deader than a doorknob.
Oh, really?
I got back on with Kevin after that to do another episode. And it was the same ball started going again. So we decided his name was Philip because when I turned my app on, the only name it gave me was Philip. It just said Philip and left.
Kevin's had some great stories. I remember the one that you shared about seeing something with red eyes outside of your house. And I think he has, I think that though, I think entities attract to him, you know?
Oh yeah. We're special like that, aren't we, Kevin?
The
Kevin's got some crazy stuff.
Think I'm hot. you know.
Well, no joke. The living and the dead.
Anything
I mean,
else that
hello.
you wanted to share with us, David, before you have to scoot?
I got to scoot. I got company upstairs that have been here since 6 o'clock.
Thank you for giving us an hour. I so
no,
appreciate
I'll come back another time, please. I'd be happy. I didn't realize how carefree and fancy.
I just realized it sure had ghosts on it.
Yes,
Where have
get
I
the
been this whole
form.
time?
Get the form again that I sent you, and mark the other Mondays that you want to join, so I know.
Hell yes,
I'll send it out to you again. All right,
kill some time like this. This is some fun shit.
Thank you. We're having a great time, and I'm so glad that you can be here and they can meet you too, because you're an awesome.
You're all invited to come out to hang out at the house and do a show from here. You know, I mean, spirits be happy.
Gotta be
That sounds
forever
like an
away.
idea. That sounds like an idea.
Trying
Who
to
wants to pay for
plan.
who wants to pay for my plane ticket?
I will.
Bus ticket, take a
Sold.
bus, take a train.
Courtney and
Way.
I are getting our dates together to hopefully get out there by the end of summer, early fall. Yes,
Perfect time.
so we're excited. We're gonna do a lot, like a documentary out there, but also like a live podcast as we're investigating. Because I don't think I just saw.
I saw it too.
What's happening?
I just saw that
I'm not
this?
crazy. It's happening.
What?
the
There was just a
something just
mass
went
that
across your
behind
screen,
you,
like,
dog.
They're here.
dude.
Yes,
That is
okay.
just crazy.
You know, what did you expect? They're here. They don't want. It's not just them. It's not just the 5. That's why I call it the Disneyland for the dead, because we have thousands of spirits.
Like a portal. There's like a gate. I
Yeah.
think there's a portal or gateway up your steps. That's what I think. I get that feeling, and I haven't even been there. But like right when you get to that spiral staircase,
Oh yeah,
that makes me think that it's some type of gateway or portal, that it's like a in through, out through kind of thing.
The in between.
Yeah, definitely.
the outdoor. Yeah, no, there's definitely activity. It's a high EMF levels, high DC EMF levels that are here that are attracting the spirits. So they come here, they can vacate, they can relax, then they go off. It's like a giant ghost flop house, for lack of a better term.
The activity that you get there is fucking nuts.
Oh God, it's nuts, crazy. When we're not looking, it happens. It's not
Right.
like actively looking. We had people here a couple of months ago. They were all talking. We were all talking in the kitchen area where I'm about to be in a few seconds, and they were talking. I was telling the story of Lindsay Lohan being here, and I said when I opened the door, I was like, all the air out of my tires left. And right as I said that, the front door opened up on its own.
Oh my God, dude. See, that's what I mean.
Let that out.
That's
on the YouTube
crazy.
channel. It's all free on my YouTube channel. You guys can check it out and subscribe. YouTube.com/David Omen.
Yep.
Is this on here? Yes, it is.
I'll be subbing, brother.
Yeah, I see it. Well, and I'll make sure
Business
to go
card.
ahead and give I'll go ahead
yes.
and forward on all his information to you all too. So that way, if you want to get a hold of him and have him on your show, talk about the book, the movie, his paranormal experiences, everything.
I'm booking in August and September right now, so.
Well, I'd be happy to come on. You know, that's a great time of year.
He's on Instagram. Just go to the Omen House and you can message him.
House End of Drive as well.
Okay.
All right. I'm being rude to my company. I got to add it. I'm out. You guys have a great night.
See you, David.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nice meeting you.
Take it easy,
Thanks
bro.
for being
Night. All right. So let's get to Kevin. Kevin, of course, like I said, I don't know what all stories you brought, because I said, 2 of the list to make it kind of easy. If you didn't have one for one, you had a story for another. So go ahead and tell me what you brought. Tell us what you brought.
So I don't have like anything memorable from any Memorial Day.
That's fine.
Or anything like that. But I do have an interesting story from when I was 18. So I worked at a Wendy's, and every night we'd open the back door and take the trash out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had opened the door and I propped it open, and I'm sitting there with all the trash cans from the building from inside, and I'm trying to like put it all together because I'm trying to condense it as much as possible, so less trips.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm literally in the middle of tying this one bag, and I just hear, and I look up, and there's a guy with a shotgun in my face.
Oh my God. Well, that escalated quickly.
And I just smiled at him, and he goes, "Get in the freezer." And I'm still smiling at him, because the reason why I'm smiling is because I think it's a joke. I think this is fake, and I'm about to start laughing and be like, "Ha ha, you got me!"
Oh my
And
God.
he fucking he goes,
What's
"This
wrong with
isn't a
you?
fucking joke," and he grabs
Oh my
me
god.
and he tries to start pushing me towards the freezer. And so I look down and I notice that one of his hands is on my left shoulder, and then I turn my head and see the gun is against my right shoulder. So he only has one hand on his gun. So I grabbed it and I started pulling it away from him. And as I pulled it to the front of my body, he was able to put his other hand on it. So he got both of his hands back on it, and I'm trying to push it away.
Oh my
And the
God.
dishwasher
I'm
was
terrified.
like this fucking 320-pound freaking 6'5" dude. He comes around the corner, looks at me, and I go, "Help, help, this is fucking real." And he turns around and runs away. And I was like,
What?
Oh
"What the
shit.
fuck?" And
Are you kidding? Oh my
What a
God, dude.
pussy.
so we're freaking, I'm
real.
sitting there trying to push the gun away from him, trying to use my body. Well, I guess I was still pretty heavy back then. I was only like 195, 200 pounds at the time. A lot heavier now. But like, so I'm sitting there and I'm just like pushing off with my feet and trying to push the gun away from him. And we ended up falling out into the little alleyway out the doorway. And like this guy must have been a ninja, or like he was on drugs because he didn't feel any fucking pain or anything from when I fell on top of him. But
Oh,
out of nowhere, he had a fucking knife to my throat, and he's like, "You better let go of the fucking gun, or I'm gonna slit my throat." So I have it to this. Well, you can't see it now because I covered it with a fucking with a tattoo. But had a scar on my throat because he cut my throat.
What?
And
Kevin.
Oh my
What
God.
the
That's
fuck?
intense.
so I got up and I let go of the gun, and the mask must have fallen off his face. And I jumped up and I ran inside, and I turned around, and all the trash cans were all the empty trash cans were all over the place, and a couple of them were in the way of the door. And the manager at the time was standing there, and he's standing up against the wall like that. And I was like, "What are you doing?
When you
Shut the
tackled
fucking
him?
door." And he tries to start shutting the door, and then this guy fucking reaches in and pulls the door back open, sticks the gun back through the fucking doorway, and like aims it at both of us.
Oh my God.
How the
And
fuck are you not
so
dead?
he ended
Right?
up getting away with only like 1,600. But at the time, I think this was like 2000. It was like February of 2007. So had just turned. It was only a couple months after my 18th birthday, and
Dude,
yeah, it was like
Wow.
1 o'clock in the morning, and then the
that's
cops showed up
crazy.
and started asking people if they thought that I was genuinely upset about it and if I had something to do with it. And I was like, I'm bleeding from my fucking throat right now.
Really? Did they have the fucking audacity to ask you that? Like when they thought that you
They
had
didn't ask.
stolen the
They
money?
didn't ask.
That's
They didn't
fucking-
ask me. They asked everybody else that was there, because there was 5 other people there. One guy I went to high school with, he hid under a table and called 911. The dishwasher ran away. Somebody else was out in the lobby cleaning, and then the manager, and then me.
You know, it's something whenever you talk about what you would do in a situation. You know how many times I hear from men that are like,
yeah,
I would do this and that. See, you don't know what you do if exactly when it happened, because these guys turned around and ran away.
Unless you're kick-ass
Yeah.
Kevin
What?
over here.
I mean,
Yeah.
at least you fought back, but it's different. You're fighting for your life. They're
Yeah.
not fighting for your life. They're fighting for
Yeah.
theirs, and they ran away and just left you there. But it's amazing how so many people can say what they would do, but until you're really in it, like,
I've been in several situations. So I've had these conversations with my like male friend group and stuff recently. Maybe not like super recently, but like within the past couple of years. And I'm like, are you like the type of person that would, like you hear gunfire, would you run to it or would you run away from it? And a lot of my friends are like my best friend, he was like, I have kids, I'm gonna run away from it. I was like, you wouldn't like try and save other like
Nope. Fuck 'em.
other people have kids.
Yeah,
Other
fuck that
people
shit,
have
man.
kids.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck
I'm
that.
out.
So
Wow.
To be fair, I wouldn't have any
thi-
idea what direction it was coming from, so I'd probably end up running towards it on accident.
Yeah, I think well, I would say that I run towards it because I've been in several situations where I tend to I think I have like a hero complex, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
Do you find that that's a good thing or a bad thing?
it's a little bit of both, I think.
Right.
Were
know
you
what
in
I
the
mean?
military, Kevin?
I wanted to be.
But
Because a
see,
lot of
that's
the guys that I know that were in the military or some sort of role that was similar, they would run towards it because that's what they were, trained to do.
Yeah, they were trained to do.
Yeah. But if you weren't, I don't know, were you in any types of situations where you were taught to go towards instead of away?
Well, I will preface my hero complex with this. I had to stand up for my siblings a lot in
Mhm.
my own home. So
Oh, that's
Okay.
yeah. That's different. Yeah.
I
So I
think I
had-
have
100%.
that hero complex too, because there's been a lot of things in my life, like when I was a waitress at a bar. Anytime a bar fight would break out, I would be in the middle trying to get the guys apart.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when I was in high school, we had a teacher that collapsed, and he fell.
Hold that thought for 1 second. I just saw an orb behind it would be, well, it's my left, but like a spirit orb or an orb go right behind you, like up.
Me?
Yep, you.
Hmm.
Clear as
Our
day.
side?
Interesting.
Clear as day. Yep. But go
Never
ahead. Sorry, I just
never
wanted
had
to tell
anything
you
happen here.
as it happened. I just wanted to tell you as I saw it.
Perfect. I'll have to
Go
go
ahead.
back and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But when
What
I
time
was
is it? 9:19.
okay.
Go ahead.
When I was in high school, we had a teacher collapse. He fell face first in the hallway, and it was a classroom that had 2 teachers. And I had just moved to this school. And I was like, one of the kids raised his hand and was like, Mr. Persons, the teacher fell. And anyway, everybody like ran out there, but nobody was doing anything.
Mhm.
So I went, rushed in, checked for a pulse, couldn't find a pulse. And I'm like, somebody needs to help me turn him over. Nobody would help me. And so I was really tiny in high school, tall, but really super thin. So I like got on my backside, used my feet, pushed him over, and then opened his airway. And he went from purple to all of a sudden his eyes shot open.
Oh.
Damn, Tracy.
Wow.
Yeah. But nobody would help. And I'm like, he can't breathe. I mean, he's purple. He has no pulse.
How could you sit and watch someone die?
I have no idea, but that I got a letter of or accommodation and all sorts of. He brought me flowers when he came back to school, and yeah,
that's
nice. Yeah.
Kevin, did they ever catch the guy? Like was this guy like a habitual robber? Do you think he was caught ever in the short time after this happened, or?
I never heard of anything of him being caught. There was a lot of speculations of who it might be and stuff like that. There was a manager that didn't show up the next day, so they thought that it was him, which I knew the guy, and looking at his eyes, the guy that with the gun, looking at him, I could see his eyes and stuff, and it was definitely not him because the manager that didn't show up the next day was fucking cockeyed. So this guy was looking at me
Well, that's a little
straight,
obvious.
So like I know it wasn't him. Everybody's like, it was probably him. I was like, it wasn't, because this guy was actually looking at me. So.
I could tell he was looking at me.
I'm sorry, that's so not funny.
All eyes
I'm
were
going
on
to hell.
me.
I'm going to hell.
I will say, like, with this hero complex thing, like, it's worked out a lot, because there's been a few times at like house parties and stuff. I don't know what it is, if it's like, because I know women are more intuitive and empathic and stuff, and can tend to see like auras and stuff. Women like tend to come to me when there's like a creepy guy, You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, you're big and bulky.
Like-
You could kick some ass.
Just be
Yeah.
careful, bro. Just
To
be careful.
fair, okay,
Yeah.
so I'm only 5'2", and back in the day, I was only like 125 pounds. So now what they didn't realize is I was fucking crazy. So odds are, if anybody was going to cut your ass or kill you, it's probably me and not Kevin. But if it was a situation where I didn't think that I could handle myself, I would go get the biggest guy. I've actually,
Of course,
I
yeah.
was being followed in a Walmart, and these 3 black guys got behind me. No offense to any black guys out there, but they were behind me, and they followed me like all through the store to the point where I was intentionally trying to avoid them.
Oh,
And
that
they
is
would
so
go in, and I would
scary.
go back a row, like go down 2 rows, come back a row, trying to lose them. And they would follow me. They got like right behind me in the row next to me when I went to check out. And by the way, this Walmart's huge. I mean, huge. And there was a
Y'all
guy
are.
in front of me, and I actually went up to him. I was like, "Hey," I was like, "I need you to do me a huge favor." I was like, "Could you please just walk with me to my car? I need you to pretend that you're with me." And they're like, "What?" I was like, "I just need you to pretend, please pretend," because
Right.
we've had girls snatched from that town, and she's been missing for 10 years, and there's no trace of her.
Oh my God. Me, even though I'm small, I'm like 5'8", about 125 pounds, but I'm bipolar.
Me too.
So if
Okay,
you
are
get
we
me
like
pissed,
related?
we must be, because when I get pissed, I'm like a whole different.
We're a whole different breed of cat, baby.
Exactly. I don't know what it was. One time it was an ex-boyfriend, but I had found out something about him that I was not happy about.
Yep.
But there was this, I don't even know, maybe it was like a big fish tank, a big fish tank, full, heavy.
Yep.
And I went and picked this motherfucker up.
Yep.
And I went out the door, down a flight of steps with it, and threw that bitch in the middle of the street and broke it, because it was like his favorite thing with his 2 fishies in it. And I didn't know how I did it, because it's like an unbelievable strength that you have when you get upset about something. It's just weird.
Too, when I got to that point, before, now that I'm medicated, it's not as bad, but before I would black out. I wouldn't remember. And next thing you know, I'd be standing there, and I'd be like, how did that get here? They're like, you moved it. I'm like, are you sure? I was like, I don't think I could move that. They're like,
exactly.
You moved it.
You get so angry though. Yeah. That's what blacks you out, is like your
like the mom picking up the car to save the kid thing.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now let's go to Kevin, did you have any other stories you wanted to share?
Well, I mean, we can let somebody else talk. I've talked a lot.
Well, let's go for Courtney. Courtney, I want to hear the stories that you told me, or you pick whatever ones you want to, but I want to hear something from you.
Okay, give me like 2 seconds. I moved inside my house, and now my dog is like freaking the fuck out.
Oh my God.
How are you going to follow a story after Kevin's?
The only way I'm going to remember her name is to call her Car Courtney, or Courtney Carr.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So this isn't like also a Memorial Day story. I guess there isn't really.
Don't worry, I have some
like worth remembering, other than that we're supposed to be remembering. But it was, I want to say this is like Valentine's Day 2020. It had to have been. I think it was like right before the world went shit.
I think it was a little bit before that.
Unfortunately, yeah, probably.
That's another topic.
So this is more of like a kind of paranormal, weird, unexplained phenomenon story that I feel like Farrah is going to freak out about. But
yep, you know I will.
This time in our lives, my husband and I, he was my boyfriend at the time, but for lack of better phrasing, we were kind of going through this like, are you psychic? Questioning kind of thing for him, because he just kept like having like weird predictions and just like weird sleep paralysis stuff going on. It was just like we felt like he had a connection to the other side. And I remember a couple weeks leading up to Valentine's Day, sister-in-law was like, hey, we want you guys to come to dinner on Valentine's Day, which in and of itself like isn't a weird thing to ask, but it was from our perspective because that's when she and her husband like got together and we were like, you want to invite us in on like your
Oh, wow. Yeah.
anniversary? Like that's interesting, but sure, we'll go. Don't think much of it. Couple weeks pass, it gets to the day of. I'm already awake, going about my morning routine. Todd comes into our living room and he's like, I had the weirdest dream last night and I need to tell you about it before like we get any further into this day in the event that it comes to fruition, because I don't want to be that asshole saying like, oh yeah, I found that out last night while I was sleeping.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. And he said, I had a dream about Emily last night, which is our sister-in-law.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And he's like, she was very, very pregnant. And already Natasha's face is like, whoa, what's happening?
I know.
But
I'm so
she's like,
excited because this is going. I do this. Like I do this.
right. She's like she was very, very pregnant. She's adamant about telling me like, Todd, I'm having a baby, blah blah blah. And he's like, I can see that. So he wakes up and he's like, okay, either that was like the weirdest fucking dream of all time. And why they wanted to have like the family over tonight on what is their like anniversary,
Right,
to tell us that we're like that they're going to have a kid. So Todd and I kind of look at each other and we're like, there's no fucking way. Like that is it was just a weird dream. But we get there, just, go about like, hang out with the family, they're cooking dinner, everything seems normal. And then the blessing, none of us like, or at least I didn't notice it, maybe somebody else did. She had her camera like propped up somewhere and was recording us. And during like the blessing, she was like, oh, and like this is the year that like we've been together for 10 years. And like this is the year that we are having a child. And like everybody freaks out. And Todd and I go like quiet and we're staring at each other like, did that really just fucking happen?
Yes.
So I'm like, right, this was the first time where Todd and I are like, that is confirmation. You are 100%. You have some sort of like Shining or ESP or something like that. So like not a Memorial Day story, but that is like the weirdest thing that ever happened to me
Courtney,
on a holiday.
That just blows my mind.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying here. You have no idea. Like it's so nice because that is only the second time I've ever heard anybody else do that. I'm on baby number 9 that I've had that happen to. Yeah, that happens to me all the time.
One of your stories?
oh yeah. But I can wait till it's my turn.
Whoa, Courtney. So has Todd ever done anything else like that?
Oh, has he done death? Has he seen people die?
Well, I was asking, like, what has he had any like premonitions after that one?
No, but his mom. This is like kind of fucked up in terms of like the South. Like his family is from like the South and everything, like the ass crack of Georgia. And they say that they have like, when there's like witch by religion and witch by blood. His family is witch by blood.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is how they kind of describe it. So his aunt can like fire. I don't know if you guys know what that means, but essentially like if you get burned, she like knows spells to literally talk it out to where you don't feel it anymore. And she says that like only certain people can like be taught it, like you're born with it and can develop it, or you don't have it at all. It's kind of
But it's like he didn't even have to do anything to like.
No,
it comes across. You don't have to try. It just happens.
So his mom, couple like before we knew each other, I think he was in middle school, maybe high school. She had thyroid cancer,
and
a couple weeks prior to finding out and getting this diagnosis, she had kind of an out of body experience, or if it was truly like sleep paralysis or what it was. But she says, she describes it as it's like a dream that happened to her where she's outside of her body looking down at her sleeping body in her bed. And there were 2 like small shadow figures at her neck, like messing with her, what would have been her thyroid. Right.
Okay.
So it freaked her out to the point where she went to the doctor and got the diagnosis.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. So like it's shit like that happens with their family. Like
you never told me that shit before. I didn't know that he had the witch background kind of thing.
Talked about this at least a little bit. Maybe not.
No.
But I mean, have all of like the interesting like paranormal experiences. Not that I don't, but I feel like he's the one, unfortunately, out of the two of us that is going to be more sensitive to it. But he's also way more skeptical than I am.
Which is funny. Which is funny because how does he explain what his premonition was, what his dream was? I mean, that's not a coinkydink.
That's probably what he thinks, though.
He doesn't. He truly is like, these are things where before you and I got together, he's been like interested in the paranormal. He's like, before you and I got together, I was a like hard atheist, didn't believe in anything. And he's like, now I believe in something beyond this. It's just his opinion is it takes a lot to get to that point.
Wow.
To be like, this is true paranormal activity. Because we've had stuff happen here that I'm like, how do you explain this? And he's like, I can't. Like, there's no way I can explain that. So.
You gotta love skeptics. You gotta, Courtney. That was a fucking amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. I love that.
I'm really excited to hear Natasha's like predicting stories.
Because I didn't, Todd and you with all the stuff that happens there in your house and stuff, and just the fact that he's still kind of that skeptic person, but yet can't explain anything when I've never even had a dream where something happened down the road. I mean, that's just crazy. You don't get that unless you have like an ability of some sort.
I've had that twice.
You've had something happen like that
really?
Twice?
Yep.
I was gonna get to you anyway, Tracy, next. So I don't know what stories you wanted to share, but if you want to throw that in real quick, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll share those instead. Yeah, I had a dream that my mom's best friend was in a car accident, and then she came and woke me up because I had to go watch her daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And the next night, my mom came in and woke me up, and I said, "Is Candy okay? Was she in a car accident?" And she was.
Was she okay though?
God.
Did she survive?
Full body chills.
Survived, but
okay.
She was driving a hatchback and rolled, and the jack was in the back of the hatchback, and it came up and it like basically separated her skin from her scalp. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
How does that honestly is like a final destination type of thing. How would that, you just think
the hatchback,
she probably
the thing was broken. So when it rolled, it popped open and the jack came loose.
And would she have survived if that didn't happen? That's
she did survive.
It's like that.
She survived. Yeah.
Okay. But what happened as far as like, can she remember things or?
It was a slow recovery. She had a lot of scarring, a lot of stitches, and a lot of other things happened. It was a really, really bad accident.
She's lucky that's all it did though. And then it didn't actually, perforate her brain.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. I guess she was lucky. It's just weird that of all things that comes back and hits her head. That's just, it's weird.
Yeah. And then
you guys keep reminding me of more stories. I'm like, oh my gosh.
The other,
but don't forget them.
Okay.
The other one was just kind of a silly one. My stepdad at the time had quit smoking for a long period of time. And I had a dream that I walked into the living room and he was sitting on the chair smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a week or two later, I literally walked into the living room and he was sitting sitting in the chair smoking. And he said the same exact thing. In my dream, I was like, "What are you doing? You quit smoking." And he's like, "Well, that's what you thought, but I'm tired of hiding it." And that's exactly what he said.
Isn't that deja vu? If that, like, I've had that before.
But is it deja vu if you do it in a dream versus you redo it in a waking cycle?
Gotcha.
See, I'm always full of good questions because this shit happens to me all the time.
That's crazy, Tracy. Holy shit.
So it is a very odd sensation too. So I've got to ask because this is what happens to me. So when you have those particular dreams, can you tell that those dreams are different than all of your other dreams that you have? Because like with mine, I know when they're different.
After the fact, yes, but I don't think I've had them enough. But I've had dreams that have shaken me so bad. Like I will not take melatonin or anything because I've had dreams where I wake up bawling because
Oh,
of
I
the
do.
tragedy that
Oh, I
happens
kick
in these
and
dreams.
scream and throw stuff in my sleep. It's bad.
And so I won't even take melatonin anymore because
you don't want to get to that really deep
Right.
sleep where you get into those vivid
Right.
type dreams. I've had Jake and I both, we have dreams that are so realistic, that we'll wake up and one of us will be crying because, it's always one of us getting hurt. We're trying to save one another.
Oh, I just get murdered.
It's weird. Well,
Courtney, melatonin can cause nightmares.
Yeah.
Know that. So it like will put you into like a state of near comatose, and then it's like, let me lock you in this horrific storyline that you have to try and survive. That's really fucking terrifying.
I don't know if it
I didn't know that.
it locks you into it, but it gets you into a deeper state of REM.
Yeah, with the chemical stuff, your brain then reacts differently than it typically does in your normal sleep cycle. So sometimes it'll manifest it. It's kind of like seeing the Hat Man when you take Benadryl. Like with me, there's certain things I can't do because it'll trigger nightmares for me. Even though if I don't take it, I just have really vivid dreams, but they're not scary.
Right.
But if I do it, it really royally jacks with me bad.
Yep. And that's what I do too, because I do the same thing. Sometimes I take Benadryl before bed if I feel like I'm going to have like a third wind coming on, because sometimes that'll happen. I'll start thinking about 1,000 different things right before I go to bed.
Right.
But I did forget that Darragh is in a different time zone. Darragh,
Shit, it's like 4 a.m.
It's like I'm just like going with the flow, and I'm not used to having someone from Ireland on here. So do you have any like paranormal experiences or anything, one story that you had brought to tell us?
Like I have experienced some supernatural things, but I do have a good story. But I wouldn't have remembered it. I was only say maybe 3 years old.
Oh wow!
But I got told this by my parents. So we used to live in Dublin in Ireland, and we used to live in the city centre in apartments. And I was only a baby, so I would have been upstairs and they would have been downstairs, and they had the baby monitor on. And you used to always hear an old lady through the baby monitor singing to me upstairs.
That's terrifying.
But at least it was singing nicely. It wasn't like
and it was a real old woman. So they'd run up the stairs and obviously there was nobody there. And in the living room of the apartment, like even like make a circle with your fingers like that, like around like that radius size, you could smell like old perfume.
Oh my God.
Like literally for, like about 4 or 5 inches you could smell it, and then you'd move back out and you couldn't smell it. So like,
oh my God.
Like
wow.
Ireland's history used to always be controlled by the Catholic Church. It was a real religious place for years. So my man and dad got the apartment blessed by a priest, and once that happened, the singing was gone.
Well, really? Wow, that's a good one. That's a good priest that came in there, because usually you hear a lot about someone coming to bless the home and it gets worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
Well, I sometimes wonder too, though, is what it was. Maybe what he had really was a true spirit of a person that was stuck there. Now, if you have like a demon or something in your house and a priest comes, they're going to be like, you know, like it's going to be bad. So maybe it's just that it worked because of what it was that was in his house, as opposed to who did it or how they did it.
And like my parents, if I ask my parents, like, do you believe in ghosts, any of this, do you think it's all nonsense? Like, so like they still believe that happened. Like, do you know what I mean? Like they hear somebody singing on that baby monitor, but they don't believe in ghosts. Do you know what I mean? It's weird. It's a weird one.
Really?
Did you have any ghosts around you?
Yeah, they don't believe in the average ghost, as in you could see like a spectre ghost or orbs or whatever the fuck, but they believed in what.
So I actually had. Sorry, I actually had some stuff with the baby monitor, and somebody was talking to me about how baby monitors, because of the frequency, you can actually pick up other people's monitors or semis that drive by, or there was one where somebody was backing their camera up, like they were backing their car into their driveway. And when they turned to the video, it actually picked up the baby monitor inside their car, and they were staring at a baby in a bed and not behind them in the car.
Could you imagine that in your backup camera all of a sudden?
But
what the fuck is this?
People were picking up. They found out that somebody had put a ham radio in a house next door, so they heard this grown man talking in their baby monitor, and so they were freaking out, thinking it was somebody in their room. or
Have
something.
you-
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Darragh, there is on YouTube, there is a paranormal investigation group called Paranormal Nightmare. It's the Foreman brothers, Rocky, Sean, and Josh. And they use actually the baby monitor a lot of times to communicate with spirits. There was a few times where there's this they went to, it's called the Monroe House, where it is said to be a demon resides there, because there were like bones found in like the little cubby hole in the basement and stuff. But I'll send you the YouTube link so you can watch them. I'm getting goosebumps already.
Ew.
The noises that came through this, because again, there was supposed a demon in there, were like these little like clown giggles. They were like,
No.
Ew. I hate that.
like that.
My kids
And like,
giggle
no.
Yeah, my kids giggle all the time. They freak me out. It's usually
no,
like 2:30
this
in the morning.
wasn't. But here's the thing: as much as I know, because I have children.
Yeah.
You know, when they were little, I know what a kid's giggle was. This was a giggle that a kid couldn't do.
Ooh.
And
Ew.
you have to hear it. So I'll make sure, Darragh, that I send you the links to a couple of the investigations that I know that they use baby monitors for that reason. Of course, they know maybe it can shoot out and picks up others, but there's been too many that they've picked out that have had some really fucked up, crazy shit come through.
Yeah.
Really,
I'd like to see that, Farrah. Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Have to consider with like, because all of us over here in the States, our houses are not that old in comparison to some of the ones that are over in the UK.
I was going to say that too.
Especially near city center. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't that be older? And then as it goes out, they get newer and newer. Because I'm thinking, like, if you're in city center, that has got to be a really historic residence.
Oh, yeah.
So to me,
I get what you're
it makes
saying.
it more likely for
True.
experiencing,
Yeah.
especially if after the fact it was like blessed and it never happened again. Like, that to me gives a little bit more credence to the idea. Obviously, you can pick up stuff with
the smell
it,
was fucked up as well, though. What they were smelling.
Yeah.
Was it like a sulfur?
Perfume. No, he said it was perfume, like an old lady's perfume.
An old lady's perfume, yeah.
Yeah, which would be great. I have one that smells like smoke, and I would prefer the old lady perfume, I think, any day of the week.
Yeah,
it's just like a waft of cigarette smoke, and I'm like, which I used to smoke, but still.
Darragh, since you're the only person that I've talked to really from Ireland, do you know much about the Banshee?
Oh, I love Banshee.
My granddad, so I'm from Dublin, so that'd be the capital, but he's from County Cavan. So that's like kind of like the hillbilly part of Ireland, if you will.
Okay.
And he believed he's seen it at Banshee. So I think if you see a Banshee, it's like an omen for like a death in the family.
Right.
So he's seen a Banshee, he could hear it crying up the fields or whatever, and then say 2 weeks later, a relative died.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
See, you wonder how many of those old ancient folklores are not folklores, that they really happen.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting too, because I was actually watching a show where they covered it, and they were even saying that really you can only have the I guess opportunity is not a good way to put it. There's only a chance that you'll see a banshee if your bloodline comes from the I can't say the word because I'm from the hillbillies of U.S. From Ireland, because I can't say that fucking word. But if you are Irish, then you have but if it was, you came from Indonesia, there's no chance that you would ever see a banshee because your bloodline doesn't come from the area.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I never heard of that. So it's more or less you get to see it because you have that.
It's like a generational curse,
right?
I guess.
Right. That's interesting. Well, go ahead and share a story or two of yours.
Oh, me? Oh.
Yes, Natasha. Call me naughty.
So on the random death thing, I actually worked with a lady who was driving down a 2-lane road, and a part came off of a semi as she was driving by, came through the windshield and killed her.
Final destination.
She was just driving. So that's what reminded me of the random car thing. When you were like, oh, what are the odds? I'm like, no, literally, the part came out from under the semi, went through her windshield, and just dead.
A girlfriend of mine,
literally final destination.
Her parents were driving down the road, and somebody was hauling a large saw blade
Oh my God. Don't even
Gigantic
tell me.
It went right between them, sawed their car in half, right between them.
And they weren't hurt?
They were hurt.
But
I would have shit my pants.
Right?
Yeah.
Truly. There was a higher power.
Oh,
yeah.
Big time.
I would have had a heart
watching that
attack and
day.
still died.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
they were injured, but not from the saw blade, from the accident itself, but not from the saw blade.
Dear
Christ.
God.
Holy
There was-
cheese whiz.
You ever heard of the
Jesus.
widow makers? Like the
Yes, the
fucking
trees.
big ass branches that get
Yeah,
stuck
we
in
have
the
a
trees.
couple in our yard right now that are very scary.
Well, I had a friend, his like aunt or something. She was pregnant at the time, and she just happened to be driving down the road, and this huge ass fucking. It was basically another tree stuck inside of another tree, and it just happened to come down out of the tree, at the time that she was driving through and impaled her.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Fucking.
Holy shit.
Right on,
And so
right
how
on the
did that
road.
how does that happen? And then you get the saw thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like one
When
extreme.
it's your time, it's your time.
I know, but
Yeah.
gosh.
Speaking of time, sometimes you can tell. Did you like that
Right.
segue?
I love
Yeah.
that.
That was for you, Courtney. Okay, so
That's a good one.
I have this bad habit to where now if I even call someone, which one I don't like to talk on the phone. So if I call somebody, if they get a little sketchy, and they're scared to answer the phone because they're afraid that
Right.
I'm going to tell them that they're having another baby.
Oh God.
Oh, shit.
So this actually, my sister just had a baby a week ago.
Oh, congratulations,
congrats.
Auntie.
Congrats.
My stepdaughter had a baby 2 days ago.
Congrats.
again.
And we have another baby being born in August.
Oh
From my-
wow.
Congrats again.
Yeah, my
Yes,
daughter-in-law.
congrats coming soon.
So, yeah. So anyway, the biggest ones that I can come up with is usually it's weird. So, like you said, I go to sleep and I wake up and I am in someone else's body. I usually don't do like a lot of hovering. I've had one where I hovered, but most of the time I'm in their body and I'm looking around. It's like I can feel everything. It's like 1000%. I am there. Smell, feel, everything. And usually there's something along the lines of we're talking about a baby, or I'm birthing a baby, or we're doing an ultrasound or something. And my sister was trying for 6 months and wasn't having any luck. And they're really big on, wait to tell people, blah, blah, blah. Well, I had a dream that she was pregnant and it was a girl. And I was like, okay, cool. So I talked to my mom and I was like, hey, do you happen to know if she's had any success yet? And she was like, oh, well, she said she hasn't. I'm like, well, she's either lying or she doesn't know. Congratulations. She's having a girl. My mom was like, what? Because this is not the first time I've done this either. And she was like, oh, okay. So then she actually confronts my sister again. So I call my sister and I was like, hey, congratulations. You're pregnant and it's a girl. And she went out and took a test. And that's how she found out she was pregnant, was because I called her to say, hey, you're having a baby.
No way.
And guess what? My niece was born.
Dude.
So I was right. So
Crazy.
I have called the baby and the gender for 9 so far.
And each one you got it spot on.
Yep. And it was almost like I would have the dream, and then usually like a couple weeks later they would find out. So if you do your math, I'm having a dream as they're,
As they're like creating.
As it's creating, it's like it's showing up and I could see it. Thanks, Kevin. As it's like I could see it as it's being created, and then they don't know till 2 weeks later, and then we find out and everything's fine. Now there's been some not so great instances where it is very unpleasant. So my breathing child is one of 5. So none of the other ones made it, just him. But you just know something's wrong, and I would rather not know. To be fair, I would rather not know when it's something bad. But let's say, so my stepdaughter with baby number 1, I told my husband, I was like, hey, your daughter's having a baby. And it's a girl. And he's like, what? I'm like, your daughter's having a baby and it's a girl. He's like, no. Cause she's, dating, not married. And I'm like, I'm telling you, the next day she called and came by the house to tell us she was pregnant. But the moment I saw her, my husband was so excited and I felt awful because we had to come inside and I was like, honey, I don't know how to tell you this. I'm like, but there's something wrong with that baby. And he's like, what?
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, there's something wrong with
Oh.
that baby. I said, she's not going to make it. He's like, what? And I'm like, he's like, oh, and I'm like, no, I'm telling you, there's something, just be ready because she's going to need you to be there. And we found out 2 days later that she lost it. And then,
Oh,
God.
yeah. And then it was only like a month and a half later, I had another dream and I was like, hey, I'm like, she's having a baby. It's a boy and he's fine. And he's like, what? And I'm like, it's a boy. She's having a baby. It's fine. Next day, she comes over, tells us she's pregnant. And now we have a cute little grandbaby named, well, I'm not going to say his name because I don't do names on here. Named K.
Fair.
That's awesome.
And then K2 was born 2 days ago. And I called that one too, which to the point, there's a whole house full of people, right? We're at a baby shower.
Is there like a family lineage of
no idea. So I come from a very religious family that does not like to talk about it, but I did pry a little bit of information out of my mother that on the woman's side, obviously, way back there was some witchy type, but nobody will give me any details at all.
I have that feeling about witches. I have that. I watched something the other day or a couple weeks ago, maybe even, where they really don't like to be talked about.
Oh no, they sweep it under the rug because the fact that I can do this is gonna, according to them, send me straight to hell. Even though I didn't ask for it, I don't do anything. It just happens.
Right.
I don't instigate anything. I don't advertise it. Like I don't half the time. I don't even tell the people until I get confirmation. Usually, unless it's something like really crazy. But like there's a whole household of people. They went around this whole room with a video thing, and they were like, basically, you said, I'm so and so. This is how we're related, and I think you're a boy or I think you're a girl. Everyone, including the parents, were like, girl, girl, girl. And I got to be, and I'm like, you're a boy, and it just is what it is. And they were devastated because they had this box full of colored balloons that they didn't see. Somebody else filled it up.
Mm-hmm.
And they pulled the string and all these blue balloons came out and everyone was devastated. And they all just looked at me like, I'm like, I don't know, guys.
It just is what it is. It just is what it is.
Now, that being said, I will go ahead and say I also have the opposite problem. With birth comes death.
Okay.
So one of the crazy ones that is a little shorter is, so my stepfather-in-law, I never met him. I only know his name.
Mm-hmm.
I've been married for 5 years. Never met the guy. I knew that he was very sick and he was in a nursing home in Chicago. So that's like 4.5 hours from my house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've only been to Chicago once. Still never met the guy. Now, one night I go to bed and I wake up in my dream. And again, I am in his body. I'm clearly looking, I'm like, I am not myself. I am a man. Obviously,
that's like Freaky Friday to the max.
It is very weird. So I'm looking down and I could tell, my hands are old. My nails are clipped. I don't have these things that I have other things. And I was looking around. I'm like, wait a minute. I know where I am. I'm in a hospital bed, but I'm in my mother-in-law's house. And I'm like, that's really weird. But I'm looking and there was a nurse that was there. And all of a sudden I couldn't breathe. It was like everything was so heavy. It felt like something was just sitting on my chest. And me inside this body was screaming at this nurse, trying to get her attention, to be like, I can't breathe. Like, help me, help me, help me. And the lady just acted like she had no idea. She didn't hear me. She didn't have any idea that I was there. And then everything just kind of started to like go black, like a tunnel, and close in. And then it was like all of it was just black. And it was like, boom. And I was up.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, so this is probably like the fourth time that happened. So I knew what was going to happen. And so I tell my husband, I'm like, hey, honey, if you have anything that you need to say to your stepdad, you need to call him. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, if you have anything that you want to say, I'm like, you don't have much time. Call him. And I was like, he's going to die in your mother's house. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's been in the nursing home for years. Like, he would just die in the nursing home. I'm like, I'm telling you, he's going to die in your mother's house. And he's like, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. He thinks I'm just crazy. And the next day, his mother called to inform us that they were moving into hospice care. So they moved the bed into her house. And the next day, he died.
Dude.
Oh.
Like exactly the same. He just died of old age. I mean, it wasn't like anything, horrible. I mean, it was just, but I mean, I've had to the point where I'm like, someone's gonna die, or I wake up and I'm dying in my dream, like one of my grandfathers, and I was dying and I was in his body and I couldn't get help, and then everything blacked out, and I woke up and the phone rang, and my mom came in, and I'm like, Grandpa's dead, isn't he? She's like, how did you know that?
It's one of those things where it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because you can see things and you can kind of prepare yourself, but it's
sometimes it happens like as it's happening. So I don't really get a lot of gap. Now, the farthest anyone's ever made it after my dream has been, I think, like 4 or 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Usually it's like a day or two, or like as it's happening. And it's been people that I know, people that I don't know, people that I know of but never met, people that I have no clue who they are, but I saw them on the fucking news the day afterwards.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, hey, I know that lady.
That's insane, though. That's insane that you have that ability. It's
so funny, it's like people are like, oh, you could do all this. I'm like, I don't control it. I don't know how it's happening. I don't know why it's happening.
And
I just know.
Don't try to control it. That's the good thing, is that just leave it the way it is. Let it be natural. Let it be natural.
It's just like I've had where she was saying with like the car wreck thing. I mean, I've had some where my ex-husband, I was like, hey, go the back way to work. And he's like, what? And I'm like, go the back way. He's like, but it's long. I'm like, trust me, go the back way to work.
Just do it. I would listen if you said things like that. Yeah.
He also said that I was full of crap. Nobody ever believes me. And he believes me and went the back way. And when he was crossing where he normally would come out, there was a huge wreck that happened right where, like, he passed it as it was happening. So had he gone the other direction, he would have been the one in the wreck. And he was like, yeah, the weirdest thing happened. I'm like, oh, you think?
Well, why do you
think I told you that?
I love your stories, Natasha. I loved everybody's stories today. And we're at the 2-hour mark. So I want to make sure that
time flies when you're having fun.
It does, but we're going to meet again. I will publish the dates out because that way a lot of our followers will know. And next time when we do live, it's going to be on Instagram, Facebook, Rumble, a bunch of others too. I didn't have enough time to really prepare and put the RMTPs in, all that technical shit. But first time we did this, what do y'all think about it?
It was
awesome.
It was
a blast.
It went great, I have to admit.
Awesome. And I hope you guys join me. If you only marked for this May 27th, definitely go back in and see if you can, make some other ones, because we got tons of other people coming too. I would love to see this entire screen filled, but this is going until end of September. And then I'll make new dates in, I think the end of July. And then I'll do for, October, November, December. So I think it's going to pick up pretty well. And I'm so glad that all of you were here for this wonderful first episode.
Thanks for having us, Farrah.
Of course.
I have a question. Well, a couple things. One, I didn't realize this went all the way through to my birthday. My birthday's like the last week in September. So happy birthday to me. I'll be at a conference. So I'll try to be here. But
we'll have a birthday party for you.
Oh, please do. I'll have some Irish cream in my coffee for you.
I'll take a Jaeger bomb.
You go to my social media and you leave me a message with you singing me happy birthday in that just wonderful voice you have. But anyway, on the post, can you either tag us or something so that we can then redistribute the list going forward so that our people also can see and join us?
Yes, because I actually made an ad where I'm getting ready to post this week. I am calling even more people. I'm calling, not just podcast hosts. I'm calling followers that instead of listeners just listening, why don't they come on and share their stories too with podcast hosts? So it's going to be like an open roll call. But yes, anytime that I make, you'll get the email invites, all that. But if you want to post it, which like I said, this kind of was short notice as far as I found out about you can do YouTube live on here.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that.
Right. So
the fact that you can do lives on here at all is news to me.
Right.
But
I dug all weekend to try to learn everything up and bottom about Zoom. So I think I've done good so far.
Done a great job, Farrah.
Thank you very much, Darragh. Thank you. But next time I will go ahead and send, you guys the link. So if you want to post them on your stories, so that way people can go into YouTube and watch, then There you go. They'll be able to
Perfect.
do that with all of us too.
Perfect.
Okay. So, all of you guys out there that were here for the first video episode of After Hours Live and Uncut, thank you again, Natasha, my bestie, Courtney, Darragh, Kevin, Tracy. I love you guys. And we will see you next time on After Hours Live and Uncut. Peace.
Peace.
All right.